Before we talk about politics, documents, or powerful names, we need to start somewhere else. The story surrounding Jeffrey Epstein is first and foremost a story about victims, young people. Some were boys, some were girls. Many have said they were exploited in a system that appears to intersect with wealth, influence, and powerful social circles. Those victims don't deserve something that still feels very incomplete. They need something more. They need the truth, which raises serious questions that investigators, journalists, and the public continue to ask. How did Epstein gain access to so many powerful people across political finance, science, and international leadership? Why do figures such as Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, and Ehud Barak appear in discussions about his social orbit? Were these simply overlapping circles of wealth and influence? Or does that network raise deeper questions about how Epstein operated? And was there a larger espionage effort in place? And here's another question. If documents continue to emerge and new allegations circulate, some verified, many not, why aren't we seeing broader public investigations from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the United States Department of Justice, or state prosecutors? Because the Epstein story doesn't feel finished. It feels more like an onion. Every time another layer is peeled back, more questions appear. And until those questions are fully explored, the victims and the public will continue asking the same thing. How many layers are still left to uncover? Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Kevin. Hey, look, this is disturbing information that we're talking about today. And these are all allegations too. But I'm going to raise a lot of questions here. A lot of questions that I think a lot of people are thinking. I'm trying to collect those questions into concise narrative that we can talk about. And yes, this is going to sound like more questions of more questions. We're peeling the onion one layer at a time. Over the past few weeks, the Epstein story has become harder to dismiss as old news because the document releases keep widening the field instead of narrowing it. The Justice Department has acknowledged that 47,635 Epstein-related files were taken offline for further review. Reporting shows some of the withheld material include FBI interviews that tied to a woman's unverified allegation that Donald Trump assaulted her when she was a minor. The DOJ says the review is about redactions and handling sensitive material, not protecting anybody. But if that is true, then why were those files missing in the first place? And why is the public still learning in fragments instead of seeing the full record at once? And then there is Ehud Barak. Why does his name keep surfacing? Barak is not some random social acquaintance. He is a former prime minister of Israel, a former defense minister, and a man whose post-office relationship with Epstein has drawn renewed scrutiny because of reporting meetings, business ties, and newly discussed recordings. Barak says he regrets knowing Epstein and denies wrongdoing. Fine, but the question remains, why was a man like Epstein, already carrying a deeply troubling history, able to stay in the orbit of people operating at that level of state power? And there is another part of the story that should trouble anyone who cares about victims. Virginia Giuffre's posthumous memoir and the public work of her ghostwriter, Amy Wallace, have renewed calls for the Justice Department to investigate the powerful men she accused. Giuffre's death in 2025 was reported as a suicide, and both Wallace and Giuffre's lawyer have said they believe it was a suicide. But her death did not close the moral questions she left behind. If a survivor names powerful men, writes her account, and spends years trying to be heard, why does the system still feel unfinished? Why does it feel like survivors have asked to speak, relive everything, and then watch institutions move with glacial caution? Now look at what is happening in New Mexico. State investigators have reopened the Zorro Ranch investigation and actually launched a special search of the property after newly resealed FBI files suggest the ranch may have been used for abuse and trafficking of underage girls. That is happening now in March of 2026. So if state authorities can reopen a long-stalled inquiry, why are Americans supposed to believe every other avenue has already been exhausted? Why did federal prosecutors previously ask New Mexico to back off in 2019? And what else sat untouched while the public was told, in effect, that the case was over? Then you get to the online allegations now spreading far beyond the verified record. William Sasha Riley, his recordings have gone viral and include accusations against Trump and other political figures figures, including names like Andy Biggs, Lindsey Graham, Jim Jordan, and Clarence Thomas. As of now, those recordings are still unverified, not authenticated by law enforcement, not confirmed in court, and not validated by major news organizations. So no, they should not be presented as facts. But here is a legitimate question. When allegations that severe are circulating publicly, what is the protocol? Is anyone interviewing the accuser? Is any grand jury hearing testimony? Is any state or federal task force quietly sorting verified evidence from noise? Or are we just supposed to watch the internet fill the vacuum while institutions say nothing? And that vacuum exists because the government itself has sent mixed signals. On one hand, the DOJ and previously said their review found no incriminating client list, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals. On the other hand, thousands of files are still being reviewed and republished. State investigations are reopening. Newly released materials continue to generate fresh scrutiny. If the matter is truly settled, why does the record keep expanding? Folks, as we go down the tracks of a new day, let's keep these questions coming.